Look out, everybody.
Fucking
Jeez.
Oh my God.
I certainly wasn't expecting it to be quite that loud.
That's a full-on firework for that. Hello, and welcome back to season 2 of Conversations with My Father. We're covered in this stuff. That was very impressive. Welcome back, everyone. We've had 7 months off. We've realised since we last recorded, and we can only apologise for our absence. I'm sure you've all been itching to get us back on your screens and into your ears. So we are back, and we're going to be. The reason I suppose we haven't been recording is because of. I've been away, Dad's been away, and it would have been quite intermittent with the release of these episodes. So we wanted to come back with a nice flourish and a good load of episodes back to back.
Let's hope so.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good.
We'll come to that in a minute.
Good.
But as Freddie was saying, life has rather got in the way of our cracking on with this second series. The first series was of 12 episodes, and neither of us wanted to go to make an episode 13. So we've left a respectable gap between the first series and the second series.
Yeah.
Which I think is appropriate, and we've got the fire going. These are very much fireside chats.
You will have also noticed there's hopefully a very nice intro video. If you're watching on YouTube, you will have noticed that lovely little transition from the fist pump there, but a slight transition from our home, and now we're in London. So, but a big thank you to Drew, who has been amazing with if you guys have been on our YouTube channel and seen that video that's pinned to the top of the page, the Why We Started video. He was incredible in creating that for us and making that come across so well, and also did our intro video. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Let's try to elevate our game a little bit for the next season. So I've realised you'd like some milk, wouldn't you? Actually,
I would.
Do you want to entertain everyone?
I will try to entertain. Yes, we've had plenty going on in our lives, and we've tried to make this next episode. Yes, I'm just making sure that people can see me. To make sure that this second series got underway, and we haven't had full starts really, but we have had plenty of things going on, which have made it difficult to get together like this and devote the time and thought to. That's interesting.
It's our fire that's playing up. Hang about.
That was.
Keep talking.
I'll do that while you deal with the technical stuff.
Where is the controller?
But we've been travelling quite a bit, and to be honest, at the start of the year. It was very difficult for me to get interested in this because the process of coming off some very powerful steroids left me feeling quite washed out and honestly quite unwell. But coming off powerful steroids needs to be done with care, and it's different for everybody who has to go through it. And it took 3 attempts really of differing magnitude to try and get it right, and it now is right.
So when we did our 12th episode in April, I think it would have been.
I think it was.
Were you still? How many weeks had you? What was your stage then?
Well, I came off the powerful steroids far too quickly in January. Which left me feeling pretty low, and in fact involved a trip to A&E because I was just feeling so lousy, and I think my blood pressure was the chap at A&E had to check it 3 times. And I'm sure my equipment's wrong, but my blood pressure had fallen right down. So I was dealt with, and then another attempt was made to get the balance right, and that failed, similar circumstances, and then they've got it right. So I'm now on a much reduced dose. But the good thing is, you may remember at the start of the last series, I described myself as looking rather like Jabba the Hutt.
There have been some big changes.
Well, I haven't quite lost all of the weight that I would like to, but I am 2 stone lighter than I was at the start of the year, which
very
is
impressive.
Noticeable
changes, without
rather
doubt.
good.
And
Yeah.
hopefully people that are watching will be able to tell.
Good heavens, is that the same person?
Is that this is still my dad? So I suppose a little bit of housekeeping as well prior to really knuckling down into
Thank
the
you
episode.
for this, by the way.
Pleasure. What should people do as well right now? I feel we should have done this straight away, but there's a little something down the bottom left,
Down
bottom right of the screen.
here somewhere,
Yeah.
this sort of area, where you need to click on it.
Yeah,
Is that
so
right?
there's the icon of our pretty distorted faces.
Yes, I look
that
totally mad in that. And
our logo, which has been beautifully designed by someone in America through Fiverr that we used, but where I look like I'm on all sorts of Class A's, and Dad's just
well,
had
I
a stroke.
look as if I should
You're
be
melting, yeah.
locked away.
Anyway, if you can hover on that, click on it, subscribe,
Down
we
here
would
somewhere.
much appreciate that. Helps the growth of the podcast, and hopefully we can be able to, that in turn will be able to give us a greater platform to be able to produce even more quality episodes on a more frequent basis as well.
Yes.
And sharing and liking and commenting and so on. So please do get as active as you'd like on there. And if you don't want to, then that's fine. But we will certainly encourage that. So as Dad kind of briefly touched on, a lot has happened in these 7 months that we've had off, a little sabbatical or gardening leave, we can call it. Since we
break.
last recorded. I've had 4 weddings and thankfully no funeral, which has been good. I've had
Still here.
still got it. I've been to Spain, Canada, Belgium, France. I've been all over the place, as have you. You've been travelling here, there, and everywhere. We've had an amazing track day at Goodwood, Dad and I, which was just sharing a joint passion of ours, which is actually going to be an episode we're going to do in the coming weeks, talking about our joint love of cars and so on. So we'll touch maybe more on that in that episode. I was up in the Lake District for a holiday with Poppy as well, which was just amazing. You've been to Cornwall, Scotland twice for fishing.
Fishing. It didn't catch anything.
No, unsuccessful fishing.
Yeah, but that's...
You're usually quite good though. I feel like you have quite a good talent.
I've learnt that fishing is not all about catching fish. When you do, it's a magnificent experience. But just being out in the open air on a riverbank where no people generally go, and just loving the beauty of what we're seeing, and just being involved with trying to catch a fish and casting away. And
what were you fishing for?
Salmon in Scotland.
Salmon. Okay.
And you can't see them, you just got to cast away and hope you cover the part of the river where they might be.
And it's all on a fly, isn't it? For those who
Yes.
don't, can you explain that to people? Because for people who don't fish, I'm sure there are some fishermen that and women, fisherwomen.
Yes.
Do you call them that? I'm sure there are people that do fish and enjoy listening to this podcast. But for those who don't, can you explain the difference between fly fishing and spinning?
Well,
Not
yes,
I'm not very good.
certainly. I mean, fly fishing, you have a very delicate fly with a hook on it, and the flies are meant to replicate what might be flying around the river or falling onto the river, and getting that right is important. And you can have flies that float on the surface, and those that sink underneath and replicate little nymphs or
Oh, you can?
fish. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And once the fly is in the water,
Yeah.
you have to start replicating the movement of a fly on or in the water.
How do you do
so,
that?
So you just pulling in the line.
Doesn't do a little
No, it doesn't do any.
motion at all.
No. But if you can create a little ripple on the surface of the water, that will interest the fish.
Right.
Well, that's the theory of
Yeah.
it anyway.
Okay.
But it.
So
fly
maybe you
fishing-
need to get better at mimicking what a fly's doing then.
Yes.
Because all the fish will be like, oh, it's Chris.
and
It's a bit-
have the right fly on the line.
Yeah.
So you need to look around when you're on the riverbank and see what's flying around. It's more important
see.
with trout fishing
Yeah.
because the trout are still feeding.
Okay.
A salmon, once it gets into the fresh water of a river,
Yeah.
is not feeding.
Oh.
You're only trying to irritate it. And
So it
will
grabs it as a kind of piss off. Get out
yes,
of here.
exactly.
Yeah, I'll have you.
So it does require slightly different skills, but all the same, the casting is very important, and I've had plenty of practice of that.
Because you have to land it delicately on
Yes,
the water.
exactly. Just
Yeah.
so the last thing that hits the water is the fly.
I've done it a couple of times, and I'm pretty crap at it. But it's kind of pulling out one way and pushing out the other.
Yes,
Is that right?
yes, and trying not to catch things behind you in
Yeah.
the trees and the
The
bushes.
back of your
and
head.
so on. But there's a spay cast where you pull the fly back, go to one side, and the fly's still in the water, and then you wham it forward,
Yeah.
and you get a good amount of power to
Yeah.
take the fly from the water to your right,
Yeah.
out 30, 40 yards.
Very good. Very,
That's
very
the
good.
idea.
So yes, Scotland twice. You've been in France twice. For
Yes. Well, we went to the rugby
Yeah.
World Cup. We had thank you. We had a lovely couple of days, Mum and I, in
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
for the Japan game, and the Japanese supporters were so respectful and incredibly well behaved.
What a World Cup as well. How good was that?
Yes, some
Mega.
amazing games.
Absolutely mega.
Absolutely phenomenal.
So that was Dad was incredible in sorting out these tickets for us. We had a game. We went to every group stage.
Yes,
I say we.
some of the
we
family
had,
went.
Yeah, some of the family. So I went with Pops to one. You went with Bert to one, and you went with Mum to one, and then
yes.
my brother went with one of his mates as well. Brilliant packages put on so well by France and the
Look out.
shit. So apologies for this. I don't know. Oh, here he is. Here he is. I was wondering where that's gone. Apologies. Our fire is
Ben
relatively
and Jerry's is
temperamental.
very good, by the way. I do enjoy a Ben
Back
and
on.
Jerry's.
We have this fire on, which is it's basically a 12-hour long fire. So apologies for that. YouTube does have some slight
Issues.
adverts every now and then. But yeah, back to the rugby. So we had an amazing time. Sadly, I went to the one game I feel where England were useless. The Samoa game, where some of the fans were almost booing us. So, but still an amazing
Not
time. You were in Bruges for an anniversary.
Went for our 37th,
Was it?
36th wedding anniversary,
Wow.
which was absolutely lovely.
So nice.
And an interesting story to tell here because
Go on.
my medication this year, and I think this is also partly to do with, it's a major contributor to my feeling a lot better, is I'm being injected with radium-223, which is nuclear.
Okay. Radium
Radium, yes.
223.
So it's radioactive, and it is taken by a receptor to where the cancer is. So it's extremely good for bone cancer, which is now where mine has metastasized to.
Yeah.
And it delivers the aggressive killing or halting. It doesn't kill, it halts the growth of the cancer, but it delivers it to the right places. Now, it's a very small dose, and it's administered once every 4 weeks. I've now had 5 out of the 6 doses, and I was told, not to hold a baby in the first 24 hours, just in case. It's a very tiny amount, but just to be on the safe side. Now, during this period of treatment, I have been to Bruges with Mum and to and we spent a lovely week in the Alps. And coming back through Eurotunnel in Calais, we were approaching the British passport control, and an alarm went off, and it was right across the site. It wasn't just in the booth that we were approaching, it was right across the site. So people are wondering, what's going on here? Is this a fire alarm?
Proper siren.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sort of air raid shelter kind of.
Yes. And we got to the booth and passed in, handed over our passports, and the questioning was very serious. Where have you been? What have you been for? And we didn't know the first time that it was us that had caused the problem. And they said, would you pull over behind the booth, please? I said, yes, fine. So we did that, and another man came out and said, have you been to any nuclear facility or any other sources of radioactivity while you've been over here?
Yeah.
I said, no. And he said, are you on any medication?
Yeah.
I said, yes. Have you got a letter to prove it? And I said, yes. So pulled it out of my wallet.
Yeah.
And it then took 15, 20 minutes to verify everything. Whether they rang the hospital, I don't know. But this was a full week after I'd had my infusion.
Yeah.
And yet they picked up this extraordinarily low dose of radiation from the door handle of my car. And I think, wow, that is incredible technology.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that it's there.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be suffering any nuclear attack on Eurotunnel in the near future. But then this happened again when we came back the second time, and I had my letter at the ready and was waving it to them, and so they turned the alarm off quite quickly, mercifully.
Yeah. I'm radioactive.
But it's nothing.
You need to be playing that Imagine Dragons song, Radioactive. Have you heard that before?
No.
What, in the car? No, that would go down well.
Don't think I have.
It's a good one.
But you don't want to muck about with these Border Patrol people.
No, you don't.
Especially when you set off their alarms.
They do random checks as well, which we've been done for.
Yes, for firearms and explosives.
Yeah, but they'll just randomly pick a car out.
Exactly.
We've been subject to that before. So Bruges for your anniversary, which is amazing. Looked beautiful.
It was lovely.
That whole trip, really, really special. And it's actually something I'm very proud of. And I hope there are other people my age out there who still have parents together and happily married for the length of time that you guys have been for. So 36 years. 36 was the anniversary.
Yeah.
And together for nearly 40.
Yes, over 40.
Over 40.
Actually, yes.
Which is just, it's so inspiring, and especially in this day and age where I feel the divorce rate is just huge. And for whatever reason and so on, but still, it's very, very nice to be able to have you and Mum still so happily married.
Well, it's important.
It is. It certainly is. And then also on my list here, you've been to Norfolk. What were you doing there?
Oh, just having a quiet few days up at Burnham Overystaith, which is so peaceful and beautiful and quiet. It's salt marsh. Yeah. And walks and.
As opposed to Rodney.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's completely thrown me now.
Salt marsh. And
walks and sitting by the fire, and dogs enjoying the walks, and it was really
Was Lupin
nice.
up there as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he
So
was.
nice.
He enjoyed it very much.
So with
And with friends.
Katie and William.
Trish and Jeremy.
Trish and Jeremy. Very nice. Very, very nice. It's such a... We used to holiday there. For those of you who don't know, we were there... We did 7-8 years on the
Yes,
bounce,
we
I feel.
did.
When I would have been from probably the age of maybe 6 or 7.
Yes.
With Katie and William, and it was just amazing. It was such a fun trip.
And Thomas and Axie.
And it was brilliant to be able to. It was a proper like get stuck in holiday where it was
Get mucky.
You're going up and down the river, high and low tide. You're going out on their boat Esker, which
Yes.
is just amazing. It's so much fun. And if any of you haven't been to North Norfolk, highly recommend it because it's so beautiful. We'd go. It was summertime, wasn't it?
Yes,
it wasn't springtime.
it was.
But just amazing, and somewhere I'd love to go back to actually. So ultimately, where we've gone is we've been here, there, and everywhere the past few months.
And you've been doing travels for work.
I've been travelling with work, exactly. As I said, kind of briefly touched on it, but yeah, I've been to Canada, Belgium, France with a client of mine, racing, which has been amazing. But it's meant that it's been very hard for Dad and I to get together on a consistent basis and to be able to record these episodes for you. So
Technically, it would be Dad and me to get together.
For Dad and me to get together. That's very true. Is that right? I
think
often
so.
correct people on this, so I haven't done it.
Because you wouldn't say it's been difficult for I to get together with Dad.
No, for me to get together.
Yes.
Dad and me. There we go. Done me again.
Remember that, folks.
So
Grammar matters.
Grammar matters, exactly. But I suppose this really the heart of this episode was to have a proper update on you and your well-being. I suppose the whole reason we started this podcast was to spend quality time together. That it could have gone a completely different way. And I remember you saying in an earlier episode that had someone said to you 10 years ago when you were first diagnosed with cancer that you would be where you are now, you'd have been like, fantastic, I'm taking that. That's amazing.
Yes.
And as you said, you're at this stage and you want more. You've got more to give. So I suppose it is a constant. It's so fluctuating the way you are, but I feel we're on a bit of a positive trend. You've had your weight loss. You feel like you've got more energy, which is amazing. You visually look better. I feel like mentally you're in a better place as well.
I think so.
Not on medication that maybe messes with your head as much as previous years have. So I suppose I did want to because we do have an amazing group of listeners that have either known someone or they themselves have suffered with prostate cancer or a cancer of some kind, and or know someone. I feel like everyone in this world either knows someone or they have it themselves, because cancer, I'm pretty sure it gets 1 in 2 people.
Well, prostate gets 1 in 3.
Prostate gets 1 in 2, but cancer in general.
And of course it's men, but
yeah.
Yes, there are other forms, breast cancer and cervical cancer for ladies, and it's awful.
Yeah. So really, it's more wanted to touch on how you found the past. We started this podcast pretty much bang on a year ago. I remember it was the build up to Christmas. We had that we did that Christmas special, which I believe was episode 5 or 6, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we did one pretty much every weekend we released. So a year in now, and how you've changed in that year, how you feel physically in yourself, how you feel mentally in yourself, the challenges that you've faced, and what you can see for the future.
Yes, but I suppose this time last year when we started, it was post chemotherapy.
It was, wasn't it?
And that really knocked me sideways.
Yeah.
The process itself of delivering the chemotherapy is not too distressing. Although I did wear this,
You mentioned that.
said this before, but for those who are tuning in for the first time, in order to protect my hair and to prevent it falling out, because a lot of people who have chemotherapy are very much prone to losing their hair.
Yeah.
So this looked rather like a swimming cap, really,
Yeah.
a heavy-duty swimming cap, and it had a tube going in and out of it, taking ice-cold fluid around my head the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was worse than the worst brain freeze you have when you first have a bottle of ice-cold Coke or
Didn't you
Fanta or
explain it
something.
as, or compare it to just running up and just dunking your head in snow?
Yes.
And just,
Like thinking you get to the top of a ski lift,
Yeah.
you think, actually it's very cold up here, I need to get down quickly and get active. But what I think I will do is take my helmet and goggles off and just stick my head in that snowdrift and lie there for an hour and a half. And that was the feeling.
hour and a half you had it?
Yeah.
Did you?
But it got better after about 15 minutes. You got used to it.
Yeah.
But it was excruciatingly
Yeah.
painful. But it worked, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And look out.
Sorry, I apologise for this.
And this, of course, wouldn't happen with a real fire. You'd get no one coming down the chimney. Of course, apart from on Christmas
Tinder
Eve.
advert, this one.
Yeah, we'll get rid of it.
I can't at the moment, but keep cracking on. They can
so-
enjoy this while they're...
That was unpleasant, and the side effects of the treatment were difficult to handle. It was very lethargic and just generally feeling ill.
Yeah.
But that seemed to work.
Yeah.
And once I'd finished that, I didn't have to be on such powerful steroids. And that brought its own challenges earlier this year when we had to come off the steroids or have a reduced dose, which I'm still on. And that,
I don't think we've touched on this, actually. This is a new thing for
the new steroids,
Yeah.
well, they're much weaker,
Yeah.
significantly weaker. However, the steroids have had a rather unpleasant permanent side effect in that they have caused cataracts in both my eyes. And I went, because I was struggling with vision, and I went to see the surgeon in Tunbridge Wells, and he looked at my eyes and said, have you been on steroids? I said, yes, I still am. And he said, well, I'm afraid that's caused these cataracts. So at the end of the month, I'm going to have both eyes done at the same time.
Can you explain to people how that affects you?
Well,
and what
it
does?
affects the lens in the eye, as I
Yeah.
understand it. I'm not a medical expert, and I'm certainly not having this operation done while I'm awake.
No.
I've said I want
I
to
think
be...
you can, actually.
Absolutely you
I
can.
think a client of mine's had this done.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. I don't want to be lying there with my eyes pinned
No.
open, chatting to the surgeon. What are you doing now? Have you had a nice holiday this year? What are you doing this weekend?
I
No.
can't get my head around the fact that it can be done.
Yes. So the
When you're
lens
awake.
that has gone all foggy, and it's worse in my right than my left, but both of them have it. That is taken out, and this is where I start feeling a bit dodgy because it's not something that I'm happy to talk about. But that's taken out, and that's replaced with an artificial one.
Yeah.
But the upside is that I will not really have to wear glasses as I do now. I might
Really?
have to wear them for reading, but otherwise you're going to have to get used to me looking like this.
Would you? But I've known you with glasses your whole life.
Yes.
It's going to change.
Change
the
the look.
dynamic.
Yes, it
Could you
will.
not have glasses but then be just?
Clear? Yes,
clear,
I
yeah.
suppose I could do. They could be very much
And
fashion
can
items.
you when they're put in, you can't choose a different colour of lens over your
No, that won't help
eyeball?
at all.
Can't go for something
No, because that's the
bright green or
iris.
red or anything?
No, I don't. I'm not. No,
Get
certainly
into like
not.
a Darth Vader kind of look.
No, I'm not doing that.
You could do it for Halloween or something maybe. Each year.
No,
Change that
I'd
up.
frighten the kiddies. I'm not wanting to do that. But it's going to help.
Does it affect your vision right now?
Yes.
What can you see?
Well, if I look,
Or can
sorry
you
about
see? I've been over here all this
you're
time.
over there, and I can see you're
Yeah.
over there, but nothing is in focus at all.
Even with
looking
glasses?
Looking in my left eye, you're slightly more in focus.
Okay.
And with both eyes, it's better than either individually.
Yeah.
But it's something I really want to put right.
Yeah, of course.
So
Well, I'm glad
that's
that
coming
that's
up at the
happening.
end of the month.
Oh, is it this the end of this month?
Yes.
Very nice. And is that a 1 day operation that
Yes,
they'll be?
I'm in and out in a
and out.
day. It's
Fantastic.
extraordinary now what can be done.
Well, it'd be amazing for you to see the difference as well straight away from you
Yes,
waking up and then being like, wow,
yes.
amazing. So that was one side effect, and then you've from the new steroids or old steroids.
Old steroids.
Old steroids. So the new stuff is less powerful,
Yes,
less intrusive.
it is 3 pills a day, and sometimes I forget, but there we are. I'm hopefully coming back to no pills at all,
Yeah.
but my body has to start producing these same steroids by itself,
Yeah.
and that's taking time.
That was the problem, wasn't it? They were so dependent upon them, and then they
Yes,
suddenly the body was
absolutely.
demanded to
Yes.
do it by itself. And
Quite right,
yeah.
it was.
And how do you feel mentally the difference between the old steroids and the new ones now? Do you feel like you feel like a different person, or do you feel?
I think,
it's-
yes, that's a good question, because I think coming off or having a reduced steroid intake
Yeah.
is beneficial.
Yeah.
Plus the nuclear treatment,
Yeah.
plus the physiotherapy that I've been doing
Yeah.
online at Guy's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've felt for so long really weak
Yeah.
and unable to do anything.
Yeah.
But this class is for patients with lots of different ailments. And I think I'm the youngest there by a distance.
Yeah.
I'm 64, by the way. Will you still need me? Will you still
still
feed me when I'm 64? So I'm delighted to be at this level,
Yeah.
at this age.
Yeah.
But those 3 things combined have really improved my positive outlook. To know that the radioactive treatment is working, and I've had a scan since it started, and everything's halted. It won't go away. At the moment, there is not a medication
Yeah.
to get rid of this cancer.
Yeah.
So it will stay with me.
Yeah.
We've just got to stop it from progressing.
Yeah.
So it's not giving me any pain.
Yeah.
You see on the scans that it's certainly in my pelvis, ribs, spine, places where I really don't want it to be,
Yeah.
but it's not causing me pain,
Yeah.
mercifully, at the moment. Oh yes, that is wood, isn't it?
Touch wood,
Lovely.
yeah.
So there's a table down here which you may not be able to see. It's covered with gold stars. So that is,
So the physical side of things are definitely better,
they're better, but
still not.
there's a bit of arthritis creeping in, which is why I need painkillers.
Yeah.
And that's damnably irritating.
But as your son and a family member who has known you for 30 years, the way you are now is far more like the dad I've had in my entire life. There
Yes.
was, I think you're probably aware as well, but there were times where the medication you were on was altering maybe your mindset in very subtle ways, but only maybe us as family members could tell.
Well, you tell me about that, because that's interesting.
Small, tiny little things that would just be different. So I suppose you're. I think it's gone now, because from what I've noticed, hence why I'm saying this. But there were tiny little things like your maybe timing with jokes, or your quick wit, that you're a naturally very funny man, and very quick-witted, but I think that was slightly altered, I suppose, during a period of 2-3 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think you may be aware of that, but now I feel like it is coming back. Still got it.
Well, I'd like to think so.
But you just generally carry yourself in the way that I have always known you to carry yourself.
Yes.
Now,
I'm trying to walk without a stick for a start.
Yeah.
I have managed to secure a blue badge,
Sorry.
which for parking purposes is wonderful.
Yeah.
Free parking.
Yeah. Which is
don't
very
turn my
handy.
nose up at that.
No. Does that you have to always display that?
Yes, in the car, and then you can go and park in these reserved spaces which are close to where you want to be.
Very handy.
Because sitting in a car, things stiffen up.
Yeah.
My joints stiffen up, and
Could I go and display that? If, as I say, I took your car out and I displayed the parking badge.
I'd have to be with you.
What if? But once the car's parked up, they don't know who's
that's
owns
dishonest.
the car. Sure.
Thoroughly dishonest.
Yeah.
But if I'm with you,
Yeah.
it's
I
fine,
don't have to
because
fall
you're
out of the
driving
car
me.
and try and pretend that I've got something.
No, I mean
okay.
this is a very laddish
Don't do this, by the way.
idea,
No, I'm just.
and I'm no longer laddish,
No, very true.
as you may have noticed.
Well, maybe that's it's a nice thing to have, but to maybe not require it as much as maybe you used to require it.
I'm still I welcome it.
Yeah, sure. It's always nice to be able to park.
And I've got a green lanyard. It's green with sunflowers on it, and it's available at hospitals.
Right.
I don't think at most doctors' surgeries, but at Guy's, where I go for all my treatments, they have a supply of these. If you wear it, it's effectively saying to people in the street who you interact with that this person needs a bit of help and consideration.
Yeah.
Now, the greatest manifestation of this was arriving at Nice airport with Mum, and we were one of the last people off the plane.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going very fast.
Sure.
And we got to the passport control in Nice airport, and a very smart official French lady saw this lanyard and said, "Monsieur, come with me, please."
She was French.
She was French, very much so. And we then passed 140 people in the queue to get through passport control, went straight to the front. She held back the person at the front of the queue, and Mum and I just breezed on through. Which is really very nice.
Yeah.
Because standing in that queue for half an hour would have been uncomfortable.
Bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
can you wear this lanyard when you're ordering a coffee? Come to the front of the queue.
yeah, but I haven't tried that.
No.
And you're asking questions as if you can get away with it yourself.
No, not at all. I wonder what where's the cut-off point between wearing
getting on
something
the
like that?
tube or the metro in
Paris,
Nice. In Lille, actually, with Bertie.
Yeah.
I had my stick and lanyard around my neck, and the chap who was on the station, because it was very busy, all the rugby fans going off to the stadium.
Yeah.
He held people back who were trying to get on the train. He said, Monsieur, and I got on, and then two people gave up their seats.
Very nice.
I mean, I used to do that, and I think I'm only 64, but yes, I'd love to take that seat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very nice. That's a nice. Bonus.
It is, and people are so kind
Yeah.
when they see that you're not quite as active as you used to be.
Do you think they're giving up those seats because purely because you've got this lanyard?
No, it's because they can see I'm
So you don't really need the lanyard.
old. Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. For maybe airport usage and so on.
Well, anywhere
that sort of place.
Yeah.
Make sure keep that down. Just aware of that.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing we would like is we wanted to fill you in on the structure of us moving forward and some topics that we're going to cover.
Yes.
I'm going to test your knowledge, Dad. Can you remember some of them that we're going to talk about?
In no particular order. Financial.
Yes.
Education.
Very, very important. Financial advice. And I'm assuming people know what you did as a job.
Well, they may not do. I was an investment manager for 34 years, and I was involved in projects at work to try and deliver financial knowledge to schools.
Yeah. You did one at our school before.
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
2, actually.
Yeah.
And that is hugely important, and it's something that's really lacking in our educational system. The practical knowledge that you need when you leave school and you leave university and you're thrown out into you join the adult working world.
Yeah.
And you have no real idea about what to do with money.
Yeah.
How to look after it, how to be sensible with it, and not spend it all when you get it.
Yeah, but we'll
come to that.
Yeah, don't do that as an episode now.
No, I'm sorry. But that's one episode. We're going to talk about one of my passions, which is model railways.
Yeah.
And we're going to do an episode in my railway room.
Have you heard of, I forget his surname now, Francis
Rossi.
No.
Of Status Quo.
Francis Bull? Is it Francis Bull or something? Anyway, he's a boy who's probably not far off my age. He's probably in his 20s.
Right.
He's a train spotter. He has a big Instagram account and TikTok and so on, where he films him. He's got a GoPro on his head.
Yes.
That it shows his reactions as trains go past.
Right.
Have you heard of him?
No.
I'll show you a few
but I'd
videos
like
of him.
to have a look.
But he is kind of made people aware of the younger generation, let's say, aware of trains and his passion that he has for them. So you'd enjoy having a beer with him if and when that time ever comes.
We may not be able to arrange an open fire in my train room, but
no, that's true. That's very true. But yeah, I think you'd all like to see what Dad has set up at home.
Yes.
It is quite something. So that's a good thing.
So that's an episode, and cars. We both
definitely
love our classic cars, particularly,
and
which we'll talk about, perhaps show you.
Yeah.
And we were going to talk about Mum and Me.
Yes, exactly. I think that's I feel like we've touched on it briefly in the past, but something I think it would be lovely to talk about as an episode is parent relationship. So whether that be yours, so my relationship with you guys, and then your relationship with your parents, and Mum's with hers, and so on, and then also in between, so in the relationship itself.
Yes.
Which would be really, really lovely to do. And also to do another Christmas special.
Yes, that's very true.
Which would be
which we hope to do in a pub somewhere in front of an
well,
open
we'll see.
fire.
We'll see what we can arrange. But also talking of which, if any of you are out there watching this and know of anyone who'd like to sponsor the podcast, that would be very nice.
Well, champagne would be great.
Champagne's very nice. That was a lovely episode. We have had that. We've had a lovely partnership with Fresh Fitness Food as well.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
It's always nice if anyone fancies sponsoring the podcast. It's always
unashamedly commercial.
Exactly. Always it's nice to have anyway. And then I suppose to kind of round it off, we would love to do another episode. We did it in the first season, but do another episode whereby we answer some of your questions. We had a whole load of random ones last time, if you can remember.
Yes, I do.
There was the
Particularly from Ali,
the tattoo factory man that you that you called. I can't remember what the question was, but you called him the tattoo factory. But yeah, we would love for you guys to send in some questions. We'll put out a little thing on Instagram as well, because we want to involve you as much in this as possible and help out where we can and give our advice, or you give your advice.
Yes, and I think because this podcast originated from my cancer experiences, it's true to say that everyone's experience of cancer is different. The common feature is the terrible feeling when you realise that you're being checked for cancer. They think you might have it, but they give you alternative reasons why you are like this. But so that gives you hope. And then when you're told you've got cancer, that is the common experience of everybody.
That moment.
And you quietly swear, well, I did, and not quietly. And then you think, okay, how am I going to deal with it? And from that moment on, that common experience goes off in a myriad of different directions and different experiences. But I've had a lot of experiences over the past 10 years. You're quite right. I would have grabbed the opportunity of 10 years after my original diagnosis with both hands and said, yes, I'll take that, thank you, and I'll be happy. Well, I am happy, and I really want to go for as much more time as I can. But I love another
like
10.
anything, when you achieve a goal, you need that next thing to aim for.
Quite right. So plenty of experience, and I'm very happy to share that with anyone out there who has a father, uncle, brother, son who is suffering with this. I would like to think I might be able to say something that would help. Other subjects I can't be quite as confident unless they're about Cambridge United or railways or golf,
You're a
cricket,
very wise
football.
man, Dad. You're doing yourself a disservice. But we'll help out where we can. Let's say we'll certainly put our hands up and say we don't know something when we don't know something.
And if we get a question that we can't answer, we just won't
pass.
read it out.
Yeah,
yes,
we'll move on. Exactly.
Yes.
And apologies for this fire. This went. It's it's a lot of adverts and so on, which is very annoying. But I suppose that's a nice way of rounding off the first episode of season 2.
Yes,
which is amazing. It's so nice to be back doing it, and
it really is
so lovely to.
Fantastic. It's long
sit down with
overdue, but we are delighted to be back. You must make sure that Nick gets the link
Yes.
to
Hopefully
the
he'll see this.
last lot. Well,
But
I
he'll be
hope so.
quite a while because he's got all the catching.
He's got a
up to
lot
do.
of catching up to do.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that.
But if you enjoy it, then do please tell other people about it.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way of speaking to people rather than
Carrier pigeon.
clicking on that. I've never used a carrier
No,
pigeon.
okay.
One did actually land on it was a homing pigeon, landed at home, and sadly it was eaten by a
Just a pigeon,
hawk.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a racing pigeon, and
How did you know it was a racing pigeon?
because it had a band round its leg,
Oh,
and it
picked up.
it came to us, and very sadly it died a few days later.
Well,
A flurry
well,
of
on that
feathers.
note,
No, we can't leave it at that point. But thank you very much for watching.
thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed it, and we very much look forward to seeing you next time, which
We do.
will not be in 7 months, I promise you that.
And we've got a bit of clearing up to do.
We have now got to get the Hoover out and get rid of all these gold
Very good,
stars.
though. Very good. I think it's an M&S number, this.
Yeah, well,
So,
excellent.
Very good. Well,
Thank you ever so much,
That
everybody.
is season 2, episode 1, over and out, and we'll see you next time.
Excellent.
All the best.
Oh, sorry.
Bang. Well done.